If you don't want a narcissistic son, then don't baby them. Don't overbear on them. Don't over control them. Teach them that being a man means being vulnerable, having emotions, and that those things aren't a bad thing. Learn to be open, have them come to you, be non-judgmental when they bring up stuff that you don't like or that you don't think is right, and be open to their thoughts, feelings, opinions. Ultimately, deep down inside, a narc is often looking to see if they're going to be validated by actually having true love or someone that doesn't judge them based on who they are. Narcissists are predators, but the difference is a narc isn't looking for the opportunity to pounce. A narc is looking for the opportunity to position themselves in a place of authority and control over someone else's life. And as a result, they're able to control that person's mind, will, thoughts, emotions, etc., to the point where that person becomes the narc's victim and ultimately their supply. Consistent growth. Consistent growth and transparency is going to be the only way that you're actually going to be able to tell if they're not just love bombing, if they're not just manipulating you. That can be really hard a lot of times. It can be really difficult to be able to figure out and can be very hard to be able to see. But setting boundaries for you so that you understand, hey, if you cross this line, this is a line of no return. We're going to have to separate, or something's going to change, something's going to happen. Setting a boundary, telling them no, watching them actually go to that boundary and not cross over it is a good sign, as long as they're not using that to manipulate. It's very difficult to be able to see. I understand it's very hard to be able to understand, but you have to have transparency and you have to have growth. If you can't have those two things, then there's no point in even thinking that this person is going to change. The only thing that's really going to set apart a narcissist from just the love bombing to the actual change, because when you're thinking about it, a narc is just disassociating. So I'd walk out the door, disassociate my entire reality that I just left into a new reality that I was going to. It was very toxic. It was not a good environment. It was not a good thing at all. I wouldn't recommend it at all because it was not healthy. But as a narc, what I would do is I would completely disassociate what I was thinking, what I was feeling, and just flip a switch. Walk out the door, flip a switch, call someone else and be like, hey, and act like that was a whole nother relationship. Out of sight, out of mind is very true. Because after a period of time, you see them start to develop the same behaviors, same reactions, same actions as the other person, and you're trying to figure out, how do I actually help them not turn out this way? One of the best things you can do is focus on their development and focus on their growth, regardless of what the other person does. So as a result, don't let that other person get a rise out of you. Don't let that other person manipulate or control you. Don't let that other person get a reaction out of you, because that's what they want. They want to be able to have the reaction and have your child or whoever see that reaction, and then them show the child, see, this person is this way. You should be more like me. So focus on that child's growth, on their behavior, on their emotional development, and have them understand that you can be a safe place, because ultimately they'll eventually see that the other person in their life, the narcissist, is not a safe place. So it's hard if you have a kid and you're dealing with them interacting with another narcissist. A lot of it comes down to stop entitling your kids. Stop raising kids that end up being brats because you haven't set boundaries in their lives. So as a result, they don't think that they have to have boundaries. They think they're the center of the world because they are in that relationship or in that household, and they can do whatever they want. So set boundaries so they understand that. Another thing is to make sure that you're emotionally available for them and that their emotions aren't discounted. How they feel isn't discounted. How they are experiencing whatever type of emotion isn't thrown to the side and made them feel dumb or made them feel stupid for however they feel those emotions. So some narcissists might keep things such as trophies, as far as what they got out of it, what they accomplished, who they were with, etc., things like that. Other narcissists don't know how to let go. They develop some type of an unhealthy obsession or attachment to someone, and they don't know how to physically let go of whether that's a picture or a hoodie or whatever it might be. Case in point, it took me 4 years to actually delete a couple photos off my phone. They weren't even bad pictures. They were just pictures of this other person. It took me 4 years before I actually deleted them off my phone. I don't know. I can't tell you why. I can't tell you how, but it took me a long time to get through counseling and healing and work through a lot of emotions and feelings and stuff like that to actually have the guts, per se, just to be able to go on my phone and be like, okay, I'm done with this, moving on. Form an unhealthy relationship with someone when it's based on abuse, whether that's psychological, physical, or emotional, whatever it might be. You form a trauma bond, and as a result, that's something that keeps affecting you and keeps you coming back to the same person no matter what. So trauma bond, it's when you Because if they're able to keep apologizing to you, they're able to manipulate how you perceive them. If you keep perceiving them as they're being apologetic and willing to be able to change and actually be able to move on, then as a result, they're going to view you as being willing to accept the same amount of abuse that they fed you the first time. But this time, you've actually justified it. But this time, you've actually made it right in their minds that you're okay with that. So as a result, they're going to apologize. You keep forgiving them. They keep not changing, but they keep putting you through more and more abuse because you accepted their apology. You didn't set a boundary. You didn't make them actually change or set a limit of like, hey, if you're not changing, if you're not growing, if you're not doing this, this, and this, then it's not actually real. Because an apology without an actual change, like I've said before, is just manipulation. So a narcissist is going to keep coming back and they're going to keep apologizing.